In a landmark decision, Pakistan's Supreme Court has ruled in favor of former Prime Minister Imran Khan's party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, or the PTI. It has ordered the Election Commission to reallocate the 70 reserved seats for the party in Parliament and the 156 in provincial assemblies within 15 days. This ruling overturns the previous decision by the Election Commission, which had assigned these seats to the ruling alliance following the February 8th general elections. The PTI, which had been denied its election symbol and consequently did not participate in the elections as a party, saw its candidates win over 90 seats under the banner Sunni Ittihad Council, or the SIC. However, the Election Commission did not allocate the reserved seats to SIC, citing legal defects. The Supreme Court's majority verdict, with 8 judges in favor and 5 against, has invalidated the election body's decision. The court stressed that the withdrawal of an election symbol does not disqualify a political party from elections. This reaffirms the PTI's status as a political entity. The Pakistani Supreme Court's decision reduces the ruling coalition's strength in the lower house from 228 to 203, affecting its two-thirds majority in the lower house. As a result, Imran Khan's PTI is expected to see its strength in the lower house rise from 84 to over 100, significantly changing the composition of the parliament. Approximately 60 bodies have been discovered beneath the rubble of Shujaiya neighborhood in Gaza, following the end of an Israeli military operation. In the past 24 hours, Israeli forces killed at least 50 Palestinians and wounded 54 more, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. Late Thursday, several Palestinians were killed and injured when an Israeli warplane targeted a crowd in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. On Friday, Israeli military vehicles resumed their advance in Del Al-Hawa, southwest of Gaza City, just hours after a previous retreat. Eyewitnesses noted that the army targeted areas near Al-Quds Hospital, Barcelona Park, and Abu Mazen Junction, firing machine guns and artillery shells at Palestinians and their homes. Gaza's civil defense reports that dozens of bodies were scattered in the industrial area of Gaza City following the Israeli troop withdrawal. Verified social media footage showed decomposing bodies on the streets of Del Al-Hawa, most of which were women and children. In Rafah, at least 8 people were killed, with bodies transferred to Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. Additionally, 4 more were killed in the Nusayrat refugee camp in central Gaza. World Health Organization Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus highlighted the dire humanitarian situation, with only 5 trucks of medical supplies allowed into Gaza last week, while over 70 remain held up in Egypt. Since October 7th, Israel has killed approximately 38,345 Palestinians, with 88,295 wounded. Israel faces genocide accusations at the International Court of Justice, which has ordered an immediate halt to its operations in Rafah. The United States is planning to send new shipments of weapons, including critical munitions, to Israel in the coming days. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant held talks in Tel Aviv with White House Middle East Coordinator Brett McGurk, who confirmed the news. An Israeli Defense Ministry statement did, however, not specify the quantity or the type of weapons that would be shipped to Israel. Since the start of Israeli war on Gaza, the United States has provided Israel with large quantities of weapons and ammunition. Last month, Tel Aviv and Washington signed a deal to purchase 25 F-35 fighter jets worth $3 billion, according to a statement by the Israeli Defense Ministry at that time. A recent survey by the Brookings Institution reveals that 75% of Middle East scholars believe Israel's actions in Gaza constitute war crimes akin to genocide. However, fear of repercussions has led 83% of these scholars to self-censor, particularly regarding criticism of Israel. Reasons cited include potential disciplinary actions from administrations, pressures from external advocacy groups, and concerns about offending students or upsetting campus culture. The survey of 758 scholars also highlights a significant disconnect between school administrators and faculty on the Palestinian issue. It has found strong faculty support for campus protests, contrasting starkly with administrative opposition. The scholars express pessimism about the Biden administration's impact on the U.S. standing and peace efforts in the Middle East. Many doubt the feasibility of a two-state solution in the near future. They also note widespread concerns about anti-Semitism Islamophobia, and anti-Palestinian sentiments on campuses. Over 79% say that anti-Palestinian prejudice is evident on the campus. In a related development, Columbia University suspended 3 deans for allegedly sending anti-Semitic text messages amid campus protests. Delta Airlines is facing calls for boycotts. This is after saying it will take action against staff for wearing pins of the Palestinian flag. The controversy began during a flight between Boston and West Palm Beach. Images surfaced of flight attendants wearing the pins. Activists accused Delta of endorsing a false claim that the pins represented Hamas on social media platform X, prompting widespread outrage. Delta has deleted its tweets, but not before calls for boycotts gained momentum. Dallas-based Muslim scholar and activist Imam Omar Suleiman and the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, are demanding an apology. They have condemned Delta's handling of the situation as racist and anti-Palestinian. This is not the first time Delta has been involved in discrimination against Muslims. In 2020, it was fined $50,000 by the U.S. Transport Department. This was for ordering Muslim passengers off planes despite its own security officials clearing them to travel. In another incident, in July 2016, a Muslim couple were removed after a passenger complained that their behavior made her uncomfortable and nervous. The Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, has filed a complaint against the University of California's School of Medicine with the Department of Education. This is on behalf of a Palestinian American student. The complaint alleges multiple instances of discrimination during the student's pediatric clerkship at the medical center last year. CAIR has accused authorities of violating Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. It cites discriminatory comments, conduct, and efforts to create obstacles for the student in observing religious practices. After the reports of mistreatment, the student allegedly faced retaliatory measures, including negative evaluations and a failing grade. CAIR is calling for an investigation into the allegations, as well as accountability and ethical training for the medical center staff to ensure the fair treatment of all patients. A court in Iran's capital, Tehran court, has ordered the U.S. government to compensate butterfly disease patients with over $6.7 billion, citing harm caused by U.S. sanctions. The condition, called epidermolysis bullosa, leaves the skin as delicate as butterfly wings, causing severe blistering. The ruling demands more than $6.7 billion in material, moral, and punitive damages from U.S. officials, obstructing access to crucial medical supplies. These sanctions worsened patient suffering, leading to deaths and amputations amongst Iranian children. A lawsuit by 295 patients blamed 30 U.S. entities for these hardships, which intensified after the U.S. exited the nuclear deal. Despite efforts to resume supply through legal channels, Iranian courts emphasized humanitarian needs, underscoring $1.4 billion for materials, $2.3 billion for moral anguish, and $2.9 billion in punitive measures, aiming to alleviate patient struggles. Republican-backed SAVE Act sparks debate over voting rights. Details come after the break. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to Muslim Network TV's This Hijabi Live. Today I am joined by
Welcome back. House Republicans have passed the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, or the SAVE Act, prompting outcry from Democrats and voting rights advocates. The bill mandates proof of U.S. citizenship for federal election voting, a move critics argue targets minority and young voters who are traditionally Democratic-leaning. Congresswoman Summer Lee condemned the bill as an assault on democracy, asserting it aims to suppress Black, Brown, LGBTQIA+, and youth voices. Supporters, including bill sponsor Texas Republican Congressman Chip Roy, claim it addresses non-existent voter fraud concerns. Public Citizen's Jonah Minkoff-Zern labeled the bill as perpetuating the big lie, likening it to conspiracy theories. The legislation's opponents, such as the League of Women Voters, argues it will disenfranchise eligible voters lacking specific documentation. Amidst calls for comprehensive voting rights legislation, including the Freedom to Vote Act, observers say the SAVE Act's passage underscores partisan divisions over election integrity and access. Climate change is increasingly being linked to a rise in both infectious and non-communicable diseases. Infectious diseases like dengue and malaria, which are spread by mosquitoes, are expanding due to climate-driven conditions such as floods and droughts. Non-communicable diseases such as cardiovascular and respiratory illnesses are also rising. Last year marked the hottest on record, with this year following suit in scorching heat. The World Health Organization predicts that climate-related factors could lead to an additional 250,000 deaths annually by mid-century. This would be from malnutrition, malaria, and heat stress. Experts stress that urgent action is needed to mitigate these health impacts as climate change worsens health risks worldwide. As World Population Day was observed yesterday, the United Nations noted that the global population has exceeded 8 billion, with the elderly population nearly doubling to 10.3%. The UN Population Fund's 2024 State of World Population Report highlights shifting demographics. It points to challenges in healthcare and labor dynamics as regions like Europe, North America, and parts of Asia age rapidly. The population aged 65 and over has risen from 5.5% in 1974 to 10.3% in 2024 and is projected to reach over 20% by 2074. Developed countries face the highest elderly proportions, while developing nations see rapid aging. Factors include improved life expectancy and declining fertility rates globally, which are expected to affect population growth trends through the 2080s. In related news, India is the most populated country right now in the world. India's population surpassed China's and became the world's most populous country with a population of over 1.4 billion, according to the UN data last year. The UN's World Population Day, observed yesterday, aims to draw attention to global population issues and raise awareness on family planning, gender equality, and reproductive health. In the northwestern regions of Nigeria, thousands of residents have begun returning to their homes after being displaced for 9 years. This is due to violent insurgency by Boko Haram and the Islamic State's West Africa province, or the ISWAP. Over the past 2 months, more than 40,000 individuals have returned to their homes in Ran in the region's recovery efforts. The government of Borno State has announced that approximately 300,000 displaced people have returned to their homes across the state. Boko Haram, a terror group that seeks to establish its territory in the northwestern region of Nigeria since 2009, has claimed responsibility for a series of abductions of women. Since 2015, the group, along with the ISWAP, has extended its attacks to neighboring countries, including Cameroon, Chad, and Niger. Nigeria has been struggling to end a decade of terrorist attacks that have led to the killing of over 100,000 people and the displacement of 3.5 million from their homes. That's all from our Toronto studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. Your support is needed more than ever to continue our mission of providing informative, educational, and inspiring content to Muslims in North America and around the world. Donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.